We're making a gluten-free pizza. For this recipe, we'll use 5 stagioni gluten-free flour. It comes in a 1 kilo package, and we'll be making a Biga Preferment. First, we pour the gluten-free flour into the mixer. Then measure the yeast. We need 10 grams of yeast per kilo of flour. I crumble the yeast in my hand and sprinkle it over the flour. Then turn the mixer on for a few seconds, just to combine the dry flour and the yeast. Next, we measure the water. We're using cold water, around 4 to 6 degrees Celsius. When making Biga with gluten-free flour, there's one big difference compared to regular Biga. We use a much higher amount of water. Standard Biga is usually around 45% hydration, but here we're going up to 67%. That means we need 670 grams of water. Pour in all the water at once and run the mixer at medium speed. Since there's no gluten to hold everything together, I help the mixer a little by scraping the flour in from the corners, so all of it can come into contact with the water. Once there's no dry flour left, the Biga is ready. Now oil a container where Biga will ferment. We oil the bottom and the sides, and I also oil my hand a little, because this dough is very sticky. It behaves very differently from regular dough with gluten. It's harder to take out of the mixer, because it really sticks to your hands. I run the mixer for just a few more seconds to move the dough over and make it easier to remove the rest. At this point, our gluten-free Biga is ready. Cover it and leave it at room temperature for 3 to 4 hours. After that, it goes into the fridge for another 20 hours. So in total, the Biga ferments for 24 hours before we do the final mix. 24 hours have passed, and our gluten-free Biga is ready. I use a plastic scraper to loosen it from the sides of the container and turn it out onto the board. I don't even need a knife because it tears very easily. Once cut into pieces, transfer it into the mixer. At this stage, be very careful because the Biga can fall apart easily while we're handling it. Now we measure the rest of the ingredients for the final mix: yeast, salt, olive oil, and water. We're making the final dough at 75% hydration. Since we already used 670 grams of water in the Biga, we now add another 80 grams of water. Then measure 5 grams of yeast. We already had 10 grams in the Biga, and now we're adding 5 more. Next comes 25 grams of salt and 20 grams of olive oil. Add the yeast over the Biga in the mixer and pour in a little water. The water goes in gradually. First, let the dough absorb this. Then add the salt and continue with the rest of the water. This dough mixes much faster than regular dough with gluten. Add the salt gently. Then a bit more water. Then a little more. If needed, you can switch the mixer to a higher speed. Once all the water is in and absorbed, add the olive oil at the end. Stop the mixer and let the dough rest for a minute or two. There's no need to rest it any longer, because there's no gluten that needs relaxing. Oil the container really well. Oil our hand, and then remove the dough from the mixer. Once the dough is out, cover it and leave it at room temperature for 60 to 90 minutes. After that, we will shape the dough balls, but not the way we do for Neapolitan or classic pizza. We can't ball this dough in the standard way because it's too fragile. There's no gluten and no elasticity holding it together. So we shape the pieces gently without tightening them. 90 minutes have passed, and now we're taking the dough out onto the work surface to shape it. Put a little olive oil on the table. Then divide the dough into 300-gram pieces. I oil my hands a bit and shape each piece very gently. Like I said, there's no classic balling here. We're just forming soft dough rounds. Once the 300-gram piece is shaped, I put a little olive oil on the work surface again, place the dough down, and shape it into a flat round. Then, wrap it in plastic wrap. That's the easiest way to store this dough. It's very important to oil each piece well before wrapping it, because the dough is fragile and can easily fall apart while you're lifting it. Once wrapped, the dough rests at room temperature for 7 to 8 hours. After that, it's ready for making pizza. Now it's time to stretch our gluten-free pizza. This dough has been resting for 8 hours at room temperature. On the work surface, we will use corn flour for stretching, since corn or maize is gluten-free. Remove the plastic wrap carefully. We have to be extremely gentle here, because gluten-free dough is very fragile. There's no gluten holding it together, so every move has to be soft and controlled. I transfer the dough gently onto my hand, then onto the work surface. Dust a little flour on top, and unlike classic pizza dough that we stretch by pressing from the center out, here we press down very gently from above. We still create a rim just like with regular pizza, but of course the rim won't puff up as dramatically as a Neapolitan one. Once you remove the extra flour, put the dough back on the work surface very carefully. Never shake it. If you try to shake gluten-free dough, it will tear apart completely. We can stretch it a little more, but every movement has to be extremely soft and careful. Now, add the tomato sauce. As you can see, this gluten-free pizza looks much closer to a classic pizza than to a Neapolitan one. It can't have those same big airy rims, because there's no gluten inside. We also can't get that same airy crumb structure, but it's still very similar to classic pizza in shape and appearance. Then, add the mozzarella. Now it's time to move the pizza onto the peel. Dip the peel lightly into flour. The small amount of flour that sticks to it is enough. Then, gently slide the pizza onto the peel. You must never pull or stretch it aggressively at this point. We can only shape it lightly. Once it looks right, place it into the pizza oven at 470 degrees Celsius. And here it is, our gluten-free pizza. Now we brush the rim with a little olive oil to give it a nicer color and a softer crust. Let's check the bottom. The color is perfect. Visually, like I said, it looks a lot like a classic pizza. If you look at the rim, you'll see it still has some air in it. It's not compressed. We've got a nicely defined rim, then a clear transition into a thin center. You want that pronounced edge, and then a sharp drop into the thin body of the pizza. Honestly, from the first bite, I wouldn't even say it's gluten-free. It's really, really good. Compared to a classic pizza, the main difference is that the dough bites through more easily. It's slightly more fragile and delicate, and you can really feel how light it is. It sits very lightly in the stomach, and it's very easy to chew. There's almost no resistance when you bite into it. It practically melts in your mouth.